Hello, Louise Edington, Cosmic Owl Astrology with your week ahead forecast beginning tomorrow, Sunday, August the 3rd for the coming week. You can also read daily free updates on Substack. There is an optional subscription membership called the Spiral Weave where you get an Ask Me Anything call, and the first Thursday call will be coming up this week on Thursday, of course. Anyway, before we dive into the week ahead, I will show you, I actually pulled some cards and I'll read them fully at the end. The week starts with death. Now, I know that always puts fear in people's hearts, but don't. 10 of Cups as well, and 6 of Cups. Cups, water cards, kind of quite emotional. Anyway, I'll do full reading at the end. But before we dive into the week, I'm just going to kind of do a little addendum to the astrology reading that Kathy Beale and I did yesterday on Kamala Harris, because we hadn't looked at what the publication date was for her book. And thank you for all the comments telling me, but also I'd already looked on Amazon anyway. So it's being released on Tuesday, September the 23rd. By the way, Tuesdays are a good book day for release. It's already a bestseller. But I swear somebody must have looked at the astrology for this date, because, well, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but look at this. The Sun has just moved into Libra and is opposing Neptune almost exactly. Neptune's retrograde, revealing things, and that's up in her 10th house of public visibility, and the Sun is in her 4th house, the base of her chart. But also the moon is nicely in Libra, which is coming to her sun and will activate her full moon. But most importantly, I think Mars and Haumea are conjunct her Mercury. Mars has just moved into Scorpio. This is real psychic surgeon kind of energy, and it's in the 5th house, which is creative self-expression. Apparently it reads like a real kind of page-turning novel, so I'm looking forward to reading that, or I'll probably actually I will probably do the audible. I don't know if she reads it herself, but either way I'm going to do the audible. So anyway, I just thought I'd quickly look at that. So yeah, there's plenty else I could say about it, but I'm not going to. So okay, I'm going to get rid of her star point because we're looking at the general transits for the week ahead, and I'm just going to edit this for the start of the day. Here we dive into the week ahead. And this week, if you remember last week, I was a bit discombobulated because my listing of transits by my software was not working very well. So I've actually printed it off to make it easier. So I'm just going to be reading as I do this. But you can see we begin the week with the moon at the very end of Scorpio, about to move into Sagittarius. The moon will move in right after this at 2 a.m. Eastern. Sagittarius is a fire sign. It's quite visionary. It's, as we lead into it, as I record this on Saturday, the 2nd, it's a real deep day and very much about going within. But that all changes early in the morning because the moon, I'm just going to briefly list the aspects because the moon, I don't look at every aspect exactly. But the moon will oppose Uranus, trine Saturn, oppose Sedna, trine Neptune, and sextile Pluto. In other words, the moon, when it enters into Sagittarius, will aspect all these heavy hitters that are at the beginning of the zodiac. And this is all mainly in this area of the chart of endings and new beginnings. And we've got this massive change coming as these planets all speak to each other, right? All these slower moving planets are really working in tandem. We've talked about this many times. Every time the moon changes signs, it aspects them. But this one is moving into a fire sign. So we're going to get major fire and air. Creation, ideas, flowing, communication. You might wake up actually if you're if you're asleep. So this will move in 2 a.m. Eastern. So for me that's midnight, and your brain may be on fire in overnight. So hopefully it doesn't keep you awake. Hopefully it comes in your dreams. The other major aspect on the 3rd really is well, the first one is the sun over here in Leo will actually square off to Black Moon Lilith. Black Moon Lilith is moving wildly because I use the osculating one. But this is kind of this feminine rage coming up. And interestingly, just we've the 50-51 protest people have got a rage against the regime protests today happening as that approaches. So early on the very late on the 3rd, Ceres, by my book, link below, Sacred Threads imprint for signed pre-orders and up to date with shipping, almost just a few left to do on Monday, and so yours will pretty much get shipped out right away if you order now. But it's also released on August the 12th. But anyway, Ceres in Aries is going to sextile Pallas Athena, the wise justice warrior. And this is important because Ceres is slowing down to station retrograde. Pallas Athena is retrograde. We're realizing that not only does this regime not feed our needs, and this is for all of us who are women, people of color, disabled, or people that are not of the pale skinned and male gendered persuasion, or the poor, class war as well. None of it's meeting our needs, and this fight for justice is building, or the call for justice. But people are also realizing that democracy as we have thought we had it in the USA is pretty much gone now. And people are starting to realize that we actually never fully had it. So that's me on my political soapbox again. So, and yes, the aspects are happening for them too, but I do not think they're going to hold. So on August the 4th, you can see the moon has moved into a Sagittarius. We'll spend about just over 2 days in a sign. So the moon will first trine the sun, and now we're really heading towards the full moon that is coming up on the 9th. The next 5 days after this are real kind of action phase and really building up to something. You can watch my full moon video. The moon will also sextile Pallas Athena and trine Ceres, activating that more fire and air. This is very kind of active and doing and saying, we have to really take a stand here. Okay. So what else? The moon will also, on the 4th, will square the lunar nodes. Now, the lunar nodes have just moved back to 18 degrees. The nodes always move backwards. This is the degree they will stay at through the eclipses. So we're really starting to feel the eclipses coming as well on September the 7th and 14th. No, 21st. She's releasing a book pretty much on an eclipse. Yeah, 7th and 21st September. So this full moon is the last full moon before the blood red moon on September the 7th. We're really in the eclipse portal now. And when the moon squares the nodes at 18 degrees, this is saying we can change things around if we choose. We can always ignore these things, right? August the 4th as well. Mercury over here, still retrograde, will square off to Hecate, the way shower at the crossroads. I love this lineup of goddess energy, for want of a better word, or divine feminine yin energy in the sign of Scorpio. They've all been kind of speaking to each other, going retrograde, moving together. They are really saying, all that is yin or othered, it's time to really step into your personal power and say, if it is to be, it's up to me, kind of thing, and then come together from that place, not expecting anybody else to save you. In the evening, the moon will sextile Chiron's wife Chariklo, and will also make a square to Nessus. These two are working quite in tandem as well. Chariklo is kind of like a cosmic doula, a midwife. She's a space holder, helping us to reweave a story. But she is a creative energy. She's a storyteller. In Aquarius, she is about the people. And Nessus is about the buck stops here, and he's revealing intergenerational abuses of power and going right back to the formation of the USA, if we want to stay in the USA. But this is happening everywhere, right? This rise of kind of what you might say white power, or oligarchical power, or whatever. It's rising everywhere, and we are really seeing that now. So there we go. Right then, on to on to August the 5th. The moon will move through Sagittarius until 1:04 p.m. Eastern, and then we'll move into Capricorn and spend a couple of days there. But on the way to moving into Capricorn, the moon opposes Hygeia over here. This is holistic healing and preventative health in general. We'll also make a trine to Eris and Chiron. Chiron has just moved a minute off its station retrograde. We're really revisiting a lot of things. The moon will also sextile asteroid Lilith, talk to the hand, and square Mars in Virgo. Until the square to Mars in Virgo, this is all air and fire again. So this is very active. This first part of the week is really kind of like firing up your communication, your ideas, how you see things, your vision for what you want to create for the future. It's very, very active. And then the moon will move into Capricorn. Venus, meanwhile, over here in Cancer, will actually start aspecting these energies over here that I just talked about. Venus will trine Hecate, the crossroads goddess, the torchbearer. There she is, lighting the way forward at the crossroads, and will also she will also trine Black Moon Lilith, bringing up more of this rage that our basis of security, of what we thought was safe, is just disappearing. All right. So, by the way, you might see a lot of fear out there because democracy's done, but I still think that we may get a new constitution in the USA, and all over the world, people are going to rise up and say, hey, we don't like this, let's do something very different, because we're moving into a very new paradigm. Okay. So I just wanted to be a little reassuring. So the moon, when it's in Capricorn, will come over and sextile Haumea, who's very much a part of this. Let me draw some lines. I need to update my Pluto Haumea square article, because they are squaring each other 3 times. But look at all of this. This is all kind of working together. Uranus is making an aspect of adjustment to her. She is literal birthing something very new. Okay. And she is square to Pluto, making a quincunx as well to Neptune and Saturn on and off over the next while. Maybe I need to add that to my article. And making this sextile. But this is a finger of fate or God. How Maya is the focal point of what we're being asked to transform. So just kind of went off the track and gave you a bigger picture there. But the moon activates all those placements in Capricorn. Capricorn is determination, is building, is the structures we live under. We're being told the structures are dying. They are need to collapse in some way. Hopefully we can do it from a peaceful place, but we'll see. Anyway, okay, so that's it for that day. So let's move on to the 6th. The 6th, Wednesday, you can see the moon is still in Capricorn. The moon continues to talk to these energies in Scorpio with an opportunity aspect to Hecate and to Vesta and then Juno. So all three of those are aspected from this place of I'm determined to change this, okay? But the moon will also oppose Venus at the same time. And we're really going to look at our relationships with each other and the whole structure of our lives from birth to death in the collective and individually. In a way, it's about what part can we take in creating something different and better. Okay. Then the moon will conjunct Pholus, cause and effect thing. The lid is off. We're seeing the cause and effect of how things are rippling out now. By the way, these centaurs, this Pholus, Chariclo, Nessus, and Chiron, and there are other centaurs, but these are the main ones. They are here to bring us this opportunity to heal. Okay, so the moon will then also oppose Jupiter, the king of the gods, as Jupiter approaches the sun of the USA, and a massive conjunction that we have on August the 12th. So this is impacting the USA a lot, as we can all see, but it's also affecting the rest of the world. But that's why I talk about the USA so much. Then on August the 6th as well, at 7:23 p.m., Mars leaves Virgo and moves into Libra. Now, you're probably going to hear a ton of stuff going into, about Mars being in detriment in Libra. You know me, I think differently about these things. I think Mars in Libra is going to oppose Saturn and Neptune as they have been going back and forth, and is really helping us to see and reveal and take action to bring more justice, balance, and harmony. However, it can also be quite passive aggressive. So know that Mars in Libra can bring some passive aggression, but let's focus on the action it's going to take as it opposes the Saturn, taking a good hard look at it. Okay, retrograde already, kind of redoing and rechecking, and Neptune also doing the same before they head to their conjunction early next year back at 0 Aries. Mars is taking a real good hard look at it, all right, saying, this is not just, this is not fair. Fairness, Libra as well. But in your own life, this is about restoring some balance as well. Then the moon will finish the August the 6th with a square to Ceres, and that sextile to that. Ceres getting ready to go retrograde on the 11th, is within 5 days now, so is in the zone, is a good hard look at how you can, what part you can play in making sure that we rebuild a world that meets everybody's needs, one person at a time. Again, we're really being shown that we cannot expect anybody to come and save us, right? August the 7th, the moon still in Capricorn, aspects the nodes. We're really heading here towards the full moon, which is on the 9th. Pluto is squared by Black Moon Lilith. She's gone right back to the start here. But Black Moon Lilith really is aspecting all of those things. It's that wild elemental self, the original divine feminine energy or sacred feminine energy within all of us is kind of getting a bit angry at being put in the corner. Okay, so there may be some deep wells of anger coming up for you these last few days as the full moon approaches because of all the energies. So I'm not going to go through all those lunar aspects because, you know, there's a lot. But the biggest next aspect is that Black Moon Lilith comes back and conjuncts Haumea. And if you remember, I was saying Haumea is at this point of that finger of fate or God. So, you know, this is saying we have to kind of birth something very new. And if you have points around the zodiac around 0, 1, 2 degrees, first 5 degrees even, you're really going to be feeling this, and you may be birthing something new in your life too. Okay. The sun in Cancer still, sorry, in Leo still, not in Cancer, squares off to Vesta, the hearth, the state, but also your inner flame, really stepping up. And then the sun will oppose Pallas Athena as well, wise justice. And when the sun opposes Pallas Athena, it's at 15 degrees, which is the degree that Mercury stationed retrograde. So what we've been reviewing and what's been coming up in the news, and to change our perspectives from this Mercury retrograde, the sun now looks at that strategist Pallas Athena in the sign of the people, the collective, and where we're heading towards, and starts to come up with creative ideas. Okay. Venus over here still in Cancer opposes Pholus, cause and effect. More things come up and see. We really start to see that the ripple effect of all that's gone before in our own lives and collectively. Then the moon moves into Aquarius at 9:18 p.m. We have an Aquarius full moon coming up. Aquarius is more detached, is more able to see the bigger picture. So all these things coming to light, we're going to start pulling some pieces together, right? And the moon will square off to all these energies over here in Scorpio, and will make an air trine to Mars and to Uranus. So we've got two air, well, we've got one air grand trine active. Kathy and I talked about it, but it's active right through the full moon, especially when the moon moves into Aquarius and hits it. We'll really feel it kick in when the moon starts to aspect all these things. But I love what Kathy said about how we've got two strings to it. You can see the trine, and this one is pointing at Saturn and Neptune because it's a kite, and the other one you will see as is pointing to Pluto. So no, it's not, it's pointing, sorry. You'll see it as the day. I talked about it on my full moon post, but there's a lot. Again, fire and air, fanning the flames, burning things off, all this kind of stuff. It's another big week, to be quite honest. So anyway, I went on too long about that. So Black Moon Lilith will dip back into Libra. You know, it's been in Sagittarius briefly, gone all the way back from Scorpio and back into Libra, again to have a relook at justice and balance and harmony. And yeah, let's move on to the 8th. As the day before the full moon, The moon will have moved into Aquarius, will activate all these points. Again, as you can see this kite, you can see the air grand trine. Instantly, the lines get thicker, it gets stronger. This is bringing our emotions into it, our emotional response. Well, that's kind of reflected in the cards too. Okay, but the first big aspect is that Mars, newly in Libra, will exactly activate that air grand trine with a trine to Uranus. This is radical change. This is big awakenings. This is big, like, we have to change this. And if we are the only ones that can do it, one person at a time. Okay. And this is reflected in all kinds of areas of life, by the way. So I know I talk a lot about the politics, but that's because it interests me. So Sun in Leo moves past the degree that Mercury stationed retrograde at, and trines Ceres, who is stationing retrograde on the 11th when Mercury stations direct. So, this is our heart. The sun is in its own sign, so it's very powerful in this. This is illuminating this. What actions do I get to take? What part can I play in my life to really build what my heart desires, and to be the change I want to see in the world? Also on August the 8th, Mars exactly opposes Saturn, and really kind of looking, that can be a real big reality check under the full moon energy, because we're really in the full moon energy with this. There may be some, hard lessons, but also it may kind of be a bit of a hard stop, or saying, this is a big no. Okay, but this is everywhere. There'll be hard aspects and hard no's and reality checks for all of us. So on to the 9th, the day of the full moon and the last day of this report. So the moon is in Aquarius, heading towards the full moon. If you want real detail, go and look at the full moon video. The full moon is at 3:55 a.m., so early in the morning, so we'll be under that big illuminated energy all day, with the moon conjunct Pallas Athena on the way, square to Vesta, inner flame, and focus, commitment, devotion, but also state, and sextile to Ceres, which is stationing retrograde. And the moon will then, after the full moon, will square off to Juno, and will conjunct Chariclo, the grace spinner, the healer, the cosmic doula. All of these things that they were working really together. So here's this one here, and the other string actually is coming to Mercury, as Mercury stations, because Mercury is back at 4 degrees. This is kind of as Mercury stations direct, more air and fire, more, but the focal points, or the string, I like Kathy's expressions for these things sometimes. The string of the kite is both Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Aries, saying, what part am I taking in creating both boundaries and, well, wave and form in many ways. Saturn is form, Neptune is spirit, and in Aries, this is saying you need to bring all that together within you. The other string is Mercury over here in Leo, speaking from the heart, communication from the heart, creative ideas from the heart. Lots of things I could say, but this is long enough already. Lastly, August the 9th, Mars opposes Neptune exactly as the moon continues through Aquarius. But let's look at the moon. The moon will trine this as well, but then the moon starts to move forward, will make an air trine to Hygeia, preventative health, holistic health. Will also sextile Chiron and Eris. So again, so much fire and air. This is a volatile week. If you think about what fire and air do together, this it can kind of feel like, wildfire chaos out there, especially under this full moon, and it's going to feel quite emotional, I think, as well. The last aspect of the day at 11:02 p.m. is that the moon will conjunct talk to the hand asteroid Lilith in the sign of the people, saying we cannot let this stand. Okay, let's go to the cards. But before I do, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, leave me a comment, leave me a thumbs up, check out my Sacred Threads imprint.com website below for signed pre-orders, but it's also available for pre-order on hardback and Kindle on Amazon, and it should be out in other sites as well. I have not had a chance to check them all yet, but anyway. All right, so the first card I pulled for the week, if you remember, is Death. And I'm going to, let me stop the share. I'm going to say that this is, I'm trying not to hold it too close to the camera because my camera goes fuzzy when I do that. Didn't do that for a while, now it's doing it again. But anyway, Death, I want to read you from this book because this book is amazing. So 13. Death is really death and rebirth, but this is in this deck, the Red Threads Tarot. This is I Am Separation. Death and loss may have entered your life. Something or someone has passed from your life. This could be the ending of a cycle, a job, a union, or a loved one. When something or someone dies, we naturally feel a deep loss of grief and sadness. Facing death is devastating. The separation is painful. In time, we understand the truth that love is stronger than death, and what has gone from our lives will always be with us and have a place in our soul. To lose something you love will eventually fill your fragile heart with gratitude for all that was, okay, and what was gifted to you from what's dying. Memory will continue to be loved, and it's the same for all these losses in our lives. Changes can remove parts of our life forever, and we can mourn for what is no longer with us. Bereavement brings forward layers of anguish and lament that slowly recedes in time, allowing us to find the threshold of life once again. Accepting such a final separation takes time, and we all have different ways of getting there. Life will have changed forever. There is no going back. Okay. Something or someone sadly needed to leave you. You will move on. Walk and contemplate nature, for we are reminded that out of death comes new beginnings. Okay. So it's just something to remember for this week. People are going, we want to, bring it back to how it was, the democracy we had. People are realizing it's not coming back, and something new will need to rebirth from all of this if we want to go to the politics, because it's such a big thing going on at the moment. But anyway, this is one of the other cups kind of guiding you forward. This is contemplation. I'm going to read from one of the quotes in the book with these cards. Love is not a doing, but a state of being, a relatedness, a connectedness to another mortal, an identification with her or him that simply flows within you and through you, independent of your intentions or your efforts. So this is really about contemplation, about coming from this place of emotional wholeness, and we've reached the end of this cycle, the death. You know yourself, and there is peace and contentment within you, and you viscerally feel the presence of a deep love. By the way, that quote was from Robert A. Johnson, amazing man. So anyway, we all know that finding happiness can sometimes be a tough ask, which is, I prefer contentment rather than happiness. So when it is found, we need to throw a lot of gratitude at it, for the reality of life never allows us to hang on to the mythic happy ever after. Okay. Six of Cups. This is remembrance. Okay, this is memories. It's always a little bit of a sad card. Let me read you another quote. What matters in life is not what happens to you, but what you remember and how you remember it. That's Gabriel Garcia Marquez. So you will have a lot of memories. Venus is in Cancer, and this is, and Jupiter's in Cancer. You know, we're going to kind of probably be a little bit maudling about what this imagined kind of thing that was so magical, that is lost, that is not coming back. And that's okay. You can tune into it and then think about, you know, what you learned from it as we move into this time of rebirth. Okay. So it's another powerful week again. So I'm going to get this out to you. Don't forget to, you know, subscribe, like, comment, and all the things. Bye.